Hurricane Irma is taking aim at parts of the northern Caribbean as it continues to churn towards the U.S. mainland. The Category 5 storm is already being blamed for the deaths for at least 12 people on various islands. Kenneth Craig has the latest from Miami, Florida, where the storm is expected to hit next.
Hurricane Irma raked through the Dominican Republic and Haiti after uprooting trees and downing power lines in Puerto Rico. That destruction paled in comparison to the catastrophic damage the storm caused in the U.S. Virgin Islands just a day before. Earlier, Dutch military planes carried out relief missions in St. Martin, which also took a direct hit. As for Barbuda, the Prime Minister says his island is totally decimated.
The carnage in Barbuda is unprecedented.
It is now a frantic situation here in Florida where winds from Irma could reach as early as Friday night. Hundreds of thousands of people on barrier islands and in coastal regions are now under a mandatory evacuation order.
Florida will have major hurricane impacts with deadly storm surge and life-threatening winds.
Heeding Governor Rick Scott's warnings, thousands of residents flocked to Miami International Airport.
Just nervous.
An emotional Lily Martinez left the state for Connecticut with her 3-month-old in tow, but her husband Eddie stayed behind.
Pack them up and send them away, and I'll keep an eye on the house.
Gridlock gripped I-95 all the way to Orlando as others tried to outrun Irma by car. By one estimate, nearly 40% of gas stations in Miami and Fort Lauderdale have run dry. Carnival Cruise Lines, which has major operations out of Florida ports, have canceled some of its Caribbean trips. Those passengers are now trying to find a way out of the state ahead of the storm.
Irma is also forecast to pose a serious threat to portions of Georgia and the Carolinas. Hurricane watches are once again in effect for some Caribbean countries after being battered by Irma. The National Weather Service says they could be hit by Hurricane Jose, which is now a Category 3 storm. A group of business owners, church leaders, and community members are banding together to convoy needed supplies down to Texas in order to help those dealing with the aftermath of Hurricane Harvey. They're calling their program 218 to Texas. And right now they've secured at least one truck and trailer from a shipping company in Bemidji. They're hoping to load with donations and supplies. They plan to park the truck in Park Rapids where people can drop off items from a list of needed supplies. And the plan is early next week to hit the road to Victoria, Texas. There's churches, restaurants, and small businesses from around Lakes Country involved, and organizers say it's just the right thing to do.
Minnesota, it's what we do. It's 218. It's northern Minnesota is where I'm from, and the people here and how people are, it's different from anywhere else. We help. This is what we do, so why not? And they're our neighbors, so.
They have set up a GoFundMe account for anyone wishing to make a monetary donation too. We put up a link on our website. For that, click on this story at valleynewslive.com. The credit reporting company Equifax says a giant cybersecurity breach compromised the personal information of as many as 143 million Americans. Now, that's almost half of the country. Cyber criminals have accessed sensitive information, including names, social security numbers, birth dates, addresses, and the numbers of some driver's license. Also, Equifax said credit card numbers for about 209,000 U.S. customers were exposed. So was personal identifying information on about 182,000 U.S. customers involved in credit report disputes. Residents in the UK and Canada were also impacted. Equifax said the breach happened between mid-May and July, and it discovered the hack on July 29th. Equifax is mailing notices to people whose credit cards or dispute documents were affected. Apple's newest iPhone is about to be released, but some are already cautious about the problems it may have. Got that story for you next.